I spent nearly 1,000 hours studying for the CFA Charter whilst working full-time in investment banking. But despite this, I managed to pass all 3 levels first time and scored in the 90th percentile at all applicable levels. Now, here's what most people don't tell you. The CFA Charter did help me in banking, just not the way you would expect. You see, most people think that the CFA is a ticket into investment banking. It's not, but it's also not useless, and most of the people giving you advice on this have only done one or the other. They either have the charter and work in asset management, or they work in banking and they didn't bother. I've done both. So in this video, I'll give you the honest answer, when the CFA helps in banking and when it doesn't, and who should and shouldn't bother. If you're new here, I'm Harris Samir, a VP investment banker and CFA Charterholder, and I actually broke into the industry without a finance degree. I studied chemistry at Imperial College London with no family connections, and now I run Charter Mastery, where we help people pass the CFA and break into finance. Now, most people who search this are asking for a yes or no answer. Is the CFA Charter worth it for investment banking? But the truth is, that's the wrong framing. The real answer depends on 3 things, and getting these wrong can mean you waste 3 years. The first question is, where are you in your career? Are you a student or recent graduate? Are you a working professional or career switcher? The answer is different depending on which you are. The second question is, what do you actually mean by investment banking? When people say IB, they mean everything from M&A to compliance, but these are completely different roles, and the value of the CFA is different depending on what you're targeting. And thirdly, what do you think the CFA actually does for you? Yes, it's a credential, but the real value lies in something completely different, and I will get to that. So let me break each of these down, and let's start with the value of the CFA for different roles. You see, the CFA does not matter equally across finance, so where you're aiming determines whether it's worth your time. So let's start with asset management and buy-side research, and here, the CFA is practically mandatory. Nearly half of global portfolio managers have the CFA Charter, so if you want to work in this space long term, you almost certainly need to do it. Now, in terms of sell-side equity research, which sits within investment banks, here it's not required, but it is a differentiator. So if you have it, it will benefit you, and if you don't, you may struggle to compete. Then you have credit roles, such as leverage finance within investment banking and corporate banking. Now, these teams either lend money to companies or structure debt financing and have to manage credit risk. Now, this is my world, so I can speak to this directly, and honestly, the CFA is very useful on a day-to-day basis. And there's several reasons for this. So firstly, your studies of fixed income will help hugely, because in these teams, you will be arranging LBO financing or financing for investment grade credits. And ultimately, you need to deeply understand bonds and loans in order to do well in this space. Financial statement analysis is also super useful because it's a huge part of the job. You'll be evaluating businesses day in, day out. So you need to understand financial statements, and also your studies of economics matter too. You have to understand markets, what moves them, the impact of rate cycles and so on deal flow. So again, economics comes in handy. Similarly, alternative investments, because you need to understand private equity and private credit, and corporate issuers, because you need to understand how companies finance affairs. So for me, having the CFA under my belt has made me significantly better at my job, and I will talk about this more later. Now let's talk about the investment banking division, which is typically what people mean when they say investment banking, and here we'll cover M&A, equity capital markets, and debt capital markets. Now here, the CFA is a CV differentiator, but it is not a requirement, and it will not overcome a lack of deal experience, modeling skills, or networking. Now, of course, the CFA does add credibility, so that can help with networking, but the truth is no one gets hired into M&A because they have the CFA. They get hired because they can do the job. So they either come straight out of university or college onto the analyst programs, or otherwise move in from adjacent teams where they have strong deal exposure. Now, a quick comment on sales and trading. Here, the value of the CFA is marginal. Yes, it does help to understand derivatives, but the truth is you will not break into sales and trading by having the CFA Charter. And finally, private equity and venture capital. Here, the CFA does not really make a difference at all. This relies on you having previous IB experience, which, as I said, is all about deal exposure. Now, this kind of career mapping is exactly what we help our students at Charter Mastery with, i.e. evaluating where you want to go before committing to things like the CFA Charter. So that's the role-by-role picture. Now, let's discuss something that no Reddit thread or online forum is going to tell you. When I said earlier on the CFA did help me in banking, but not the way you'd expect, this is what I meant. The letters on your CV do help, but the real value of the CFA Charter is what it does to you as a professional, and this is what most people completely miss. The first thing is deep financial fluency. Once you've completed the CFA Charter, you can walk into any room and have a conversation with anyone, regardless of what team they're in or how senior they are. The breadth of understanding you get across every corner of finance is very, very difficult to replicate in any other way. The CFA Charter is truly comprehensive. Yes, you can learn on the desk, but it will take you much longer. The next thing is learning ability and output capacity, because the truth is the CFA completely changed how I learn. You get used to operating at an intensity that most people never experience. Studying alongside a full-time job in banking week after week, month after month, fundamentally rewires the way you process information. Your output capacity increases, your efficiency increases, and you get used to balancing multiple demanding things simultaneously, which compounds throughout your career. The third benefit is the signal that precedes you. When you walk into a room and you have the CFA designation, those who know what it is, who have tried it and know how difficult it is, immediately respect you. Even those who have never tried it know of it. So this credibility marker precedes you without even having to say something. It shows commitment that goes above and beyond. And in a hyper-competitive world where most CVs look exactly the same, this is a differentiator. The fourth benefit, and honestly probably the biggest one for me, is the confidence. Completing the CFA charter brought with it a level of confidence and almost swagger that I could take into conversations. No person, no room is too intimidating. And this has benefited me so much throughout my career, through actual technical interviews for promotions, and otherwise when I've been faced with difficult situations, either with clients or with teams that I don't work closely with, and something's new to you, you believe you can learn it no matter what. And this confidence does not come from the letters themselves. It comes from actually mastering the material. And finally, it is a credibility bridge for non-traditional backgrounds. So if you're coming from outside finance like I did, this is probably the most important point. If you don't have a finance degree, you don't have connections, and you don't have a background that opens doors naturally, then the CFA can help bridge some of that gap. And it gets you to a level of financial competence which is very difficult to replicate. And it proves you belong. And not because someone handed you access, but because you actually earned it. And to bring these points together, you can debate whether the CFA charter is valuable for investment banking or otherwise, but I challenge you to find a CFA charter holder who has not benefited from the experience, and if they put their mind to it, cannot actually find opportunities out there. But I would be doing a disservice if I only gave you the upside, so let me discuss some of the actual costs. The first one is obvious, and that is time. It's going to take you close to 1,000 hours and up to 3 years at least, and that is a big chunk of your 20s or 30s. So family time, hobbies, social life, and sleep are all going to take a hit, and you do need to consider this impact. And then there's the mobility trade-off, and this is a big one that actually impacted me. You see, the likelihood is you're doing the CFA charter early in your career because this is when you're trying to build credibility. But this is also the stage of your career where you have the most mobility, i.e. the potential to move roles. Doing the CFA charter anchored me at my current bank because during those early years where I had the most exit options, I was always debating that if I left and went somewhere else, which arguably would accelerate my career, would I have to start from scratch and would I have time to complete the charter? So I stayed and I got promoted, and ultimately it worked out because I ended up where I wanted to be. But there's always a question that if you had left and gone somewhere else, could it have led to different outcomes? Now for me, this is not a straight up regret. As I said, things turned out very well, but it is something you should consider, and is something that is often not discussed. The reality is that sometimes taking action and risks has a bigger payoff than spending more time studying. Now the third cost is the networking opportunity cost. And the truth is, every hour you spend studying is an hour that you are not building a relationship and not networking. And the truth is, banking is driven by relationships. Now, some people are naturals at networking and they should lean into that. I wasn't of this ilk, so it benefited me to go deep and build expertise, and then the conversations and network come to you. And that's a personal call. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but you should consider what is right for you. And finally, the relevance to banking in particular fades at level 2 and 3. Level 1 gives you a very strong foundation regardless of which role in finance you're working in, but then level 2 and 3 go much deeper into valuation, portfolio theory, etc., which is less relevant to banking and more relevant to buy-side roles or asset management. So here you got a question: if you're already in your destination role, if you've already got into investment banking or another role that you're happy with, it may serve you better to go deeper on the job than to spend that time studying for level 2 and 3. So how do you actually decide if the CFA charter is right for you? Well, instead of giving you a yes or no, let me give you a framework which is divided into 3 buckets. Now, I would do the full CFA charter if you genuinely enjoy learning. And some people are this way inclined, and I would say I'm one of them. If you're intellectually curious and driven to learn new things and actually enjoy the study journey, then the CFA is an amazing thing to do. Also, if you want optionality beyond investment banking across buy-side, asset management, research, credit roles, then again, the CFA can open many doors. If you're in a stable role where the employer actually funds the CFA, then this can reduce the financial burden and make it more appealing. If you're a career switcher coming from a non-finance background who needs a credibility bridge, then the CFA can give you exactly that. So it is a serious consideration and a serious signal. And ultimately, if you're not yet in your destination role, then the CFA adds breadth and gives you that optionality. So if any or all of those reasons apply, then doing the full CFA charter makes sense for you. Now, if any of the following apply, then I would consider doing CFA level 1 only and then stopping. Now, if you're specifically targeting the front office investment banking division, then I would spend more time building your network, your modeling capabilities, and getting that deal exposure alongside just CFA level 1. If you want to simply add a credibility signal to your CV and LinkedIn, then CFA level 1 alone is enough. It gives you both the actual substance plus CFA will appear on your profile, and that's often enough to give the signal and also to open up networking conversations. And if you're already in your target role, it makes sense to go deeper and specialize there than to optimize for breadth. Now, if any of the following apply, then I would skip the CFA entirely. If you're a graduate from a target school and a strong finance degree, then your route into banking is through programs, and thus networking, persistence, and interview performance, not the CFA. If you're targeting private equity or venture capital, then deal experience and financial modeling are infinitely more important than credentials like the CFA. And if you're senior, then the MBA may well make more sense as a career reset versus the CFA charter. And on that point, let me address this quickly because it is a common follow-up. Should you do an MBA or the CFA? Now, the MBA makes sense if you're more senior and trying to switch careers because that's exactly what the MBA pipeline exists for. Here, you'll actually get a structured recruiting process because investment banks hire at the associate level from MBA programs. But it's only really valuable from the top tier schools, and we're talking $100,000 plus in cost plus time out of work, so it is a significant investment. Now, the CFA makes sense if you're still earlier in your career and you want to build financial knowledge and credibility while still working and earning. And here, budget is a factor because the CFA is a fraction of the cost of an MBA. And more broadly, if you're targeting credit roles, research, or asset management versus investment banking, then the CFA makes a lot more sense. And so the bottom line is the CFA and MBA solve fundamentally different problems. The MBA is a career reset for senior professionals versus the CFA being a career enhancer for earlier stage professionals. And these are exactly the types of conversations we have with our students at Charter Mastery, and we help them figure out what stage of their career they're currently at, what they're targeting, how their background maps, and which credential, if any, is going to be helpful for them. So with all that said, would I do the CFA charter again? The honest answer is yes, I would. And I say that knowing that it cost me almost 1,000 hours, limited my mobility, and also not all of the curriculum was relevant to my role in banking. But I'm someone who genuinely enjoyed the study journey. I actually found the CFA significantly more stimulating than my job, which is probably the case for a lot of people. I felt like I was learning an incredible amount about how the world works, what moves markets, and so on. And I probably felt the sharpest that I've ever felt whilst I was studying. And honestly, once I finished the CFA charter, I found it very difficult to replace the learning and the stimulation that came from the CFA charter. And many people experience this. So honestly, it can be one of the most incredible periods of your life. Now, of course, not everyone is built this way. If your entire objective is to break into investment banking, then I would consider just doing CFA level 1 at the most, and otherwise spending time on networking, building your technical skills, modeling, and so on, and shooting for the role as quickly as possible. But of course, if you're the type of person that does the CFA charter properly, you're probably going to succeed in banking. That discipline, commitment, grit that you develop through the CFA charter is going to compound over your career. Now, if you are considering doing the CFA charter, I put together a free study planner, which is actually part of our Charter Mastery program, which you can access below, and it helps you structure your studies. It's completely free, and if you want to know more about the full system, all the way from study strategy to career positioning, and that will take you from your study session all the way to the first day on the job, then you will learn more about that once you grab the tracker. And otherwise, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, then you'll definitely enjoy the next one. I'll see you there. Thanks for your time.